Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are here in celebration. We survived Hurricane Dorian. Thankful for that. People in Bahamas had a tough time, so my support, and if you can support them, definitely support them. But we did survive Dorian here in Florida. I'm here in the magical town of Celebration, Florida, one of the original areas where Disney developed this area. And I am here with Daniel Hunalp. I hope I said that right. I was somewhat close, right? Hunalp. And he's a great guy. If you don't know who he is a major star. He's been on cruise ships. He's a dancer, and he's danced with Miley Cyrus, Hilary Duff. He's also danced at the Festival of Lion King and Beauty and the Beast show. He's one of my favorite dancers, and he's been great to me and my family, always recognizing us in the crowd, and we do appreciate that. So thanks so much, Dan, and I appreciate you coming on Conversations with Rob.
Of course, happy to do it.
All right, so let's talk about today. First of all, because I did read this about you, you did have some health issues in the past couple of years. If you could just talk about that, and how are you doing, and what those health issues were.
Yeah, of course. Well, first I'll start off in saying I am 100% free of all of my health issues. In late May of 2014, I was diagnosed with ALL, acute lymphatic leukemia. And so from that, I had to undergo 8 very stringent months of chemotherapy.
Right.
And so that had me out. And Disney was good to me, and I've been with them ever since. You know, the minute that my doctors cleared me to come back, Disney let me right back in the door, and I was able to build my strength back up as they allowed me to step back on the stage. And every single day is a very fortunate one that I'm still able to do what I do today, because there was a moment when they said, hey, you're going to be lucky if you can even run again.
And how old were you? Sorry to interrupt. How old were you when this started?
I was 26
Oh, wow.
when that happened.
Right.
And so that I had been going to the doctors and kind of doing all the due diligence that I could do,
right,
to try to figure out what's going on. I was losing lots of energy. If I would cut myself somehow, I had no platelets in my blood, so I wouldn't stop bleeding for a very long time. I was doing everything I could think of doing, except for going to the hospital. Right. I went to every doctor that I could, and that in itself is a lesson that some doctors just don't know what they're talking about.
Right. I agree.
Because I was getting blood tests done, and they were telling me I was fine. Yeah. And this went on for months.
Wow.
Months. So
if somebody didn't catch it, you could have died.
Oh, absolutely. I was very close as it was. I have a very good friend, Chris, that took me in, and within 10 minutes, in the ER, they said, you have cancer, we don't know what kind. And this was after a couple months of trying to figure out what was going on. They said, we don't know what kind, and after that day, I believe it was like the 28th of May, I didn't leave the hospital for over 2 months. I lived in the hospital for 2 months.
Jeez.
Doing chemo and all the other exciting things that come along with it. But, on this day, it's been over 5 years.
Right.
I'm 5 years removed from this. And so, the doctors say that the chances of leukemia returning are that of anyone who's never had it. Since it's been out of my blood for so long. I'm feeling great. I feel better now than I have for, a while even leading up to that. I feel better.
Right. So one more quick question on that. How long did it take you, for having it for, you said you had it for over 7 months, correct? Yeah, so having it for that long period of time, obviously you're going to be losing muscle. You're not going to be, as good of a dancer as you were, due to the illness, of course. How long did it take for you to get back in the rhythm after that, long 7 months?
Well, that's going to be... I was a little bit of a crazy patient in its own way. I would be, they called it a 10 tower, where I was located in the hospital. And so I would walk around with my chemo pole on its wheels, and I would go to the big bay window every morning on the 10th floor, and I would do a ballet bar.
Wow.
While I was there, and all the other patients would look at me like I was crazy. But when someone tells you, and this I think can go for anybody in any walk of life and anything that you do. If anyone ever looks at you upon meeting you for the first time and says, we're just going to tell you now you may not ever do what you do again.
Of course, yeah.
It changes your complete mindset, you know. So from the very beginning, my biggest thing was to try to maintain as much as I could.
Right.
And so I would do small things, but also you have to think, like, chemotherapy's tearing everything inside of you down.
Burns you out,
Even the good stuff is being killed.
Right.
You know, so you have to be really careful on how much you can allow yourself to do, because your muscles aren't going to repair themselves the same way.
Right.
So I was just trying to do everything I could to maintain what I had. And it worked. For the most part, you know, I got released and able to, like, kind of lift weights and do stuff like that again in the beginning of January of 2015.
Wow.
So after, you know, 8 months or so of being under the therapy, and I think I returned in the middle of February.
Wow.
To the stage.
That's a heck of a turnaround.
I returned with no eyebrows, no hair on my head, and, you know, my cast at that time at Beauty and the Beast was welcoming, and you know, I think I went through 5 days. I had 5 days of rehearsal to kind of build my stamina back up.
Wow.
And the joke still runs that I've had the most rehearsal processes ever at the Beauty and the Beast live on stage. Because every time something would happen, I'd have to go through rehearsals again.
Right.
So I think I still own that that award of the most rehearsal processes ever. But it took it took about a month for me to get it back together.
Wow.
You know, but even after that, it wasn't easy.
Right.
It still took months and months after that to get back in shape for it.
Right. Well, that's a heck of a turn on. Even, like you said, even though you weren't fully 100%, to even, you know, move that quick is impressive.
Yeah.
So let's kind of, I just wanted to start with that with the audience, because some of the people that don't know Daniel or haven't went to these shows know, you know, how intense these shows are, and the dancing, even some of the stuff that you've done. I'm sure dancing with big stars like Miley Cyrus, you have to go through rehearsal, and that takes a lot out of you. And even these shows at Disney have, you know, I'm sure the same sort of process. But let's get into your background in dancing.
Okay.
What made you want to become a dancer? I know you started dancing, it said at 6 years old.
Yep.
What kind of made you get into that? Me, I'm not the best dancer. I try my best. I got a little bit of moves, but I love to watch Dancing with the Stars, and I admire somebody like you and those people that, you know, love to dance.
Well, in the very beginning, I hated it. At the age of 6, it was forced upon me. I won't fib about that. My grandfather forced me into it.
Well, what kind of dancing did they start you
I started with tap and ballet.
Okay.
I very much disliked it. All I wanted to do was play baseball. That was it.
Okay.
Just give me a bat and a ball and a glove, and that was it.
Right.
You know? And my grandfather wanted me to have a different type of upbringing with some culture, and you know, so he always looked up to Gene Kelly and all those guys, and so absolutely. So he said, "You're gonna dance," and I was like, "I don't like this at all," but okay. It was even to the point where we'd be driving to dance class because my mom was working, so my grandfather would take me in the early afternoons when I got out of school. I rolled the window down a couple times in the back seat and threw my stuff out the window. Threw my dance shoes out the window, and then when we get there, I'd be like, "I don't have any shoes." So he would make me tell him where it was, and we'd have to go back and get them, and this happened a couple times. You know, I was a young little kid, like, I didn't want to do it, I didn't want to do it. And so then we struck up a deal when I was about 11. I said, "I don't want to do this anymore." Okay. And he said, "Well, I'll make you do it till you're 13. When you're 13 years old, you can choose if you want to do it anymore."
Sure. Now, were you still, sorry to interrupt, were you still doing other sports, or were you just doing
Yep,
strictly...
I played baseball.
Okay.
I played baseball all the way through as well. And so when I was 13, I got to decide whether or not I wanted to continue dancing. And when I was 13, I was accepted into the Sarasota Ballet summer program. And so I went to the Sarasota Ballet summer program, and there were probably about 200 girls and 4 guys. I returned from Sarasota Ballet that summer and said, "I'm never quitting dance ever."
Okay.
And from that moment on, exactly, the odds were very much in my favor. And from that moment on, you know, obviously that's not that I loved what I do. You know, but in that moment, as a 13-year-old young man, like that was the deciding factor. I was like, there are women everywhere.
Right. Now,
you know, and that kind of propelled it. But it's just. It's been a life that I wouldn't change. at all.
Well, a quick thing about that, I know you said you were at Sarasota Ballet. I was doing my master's in Boca Raton, and I actually worked at a ballet down there. Now, like I said, I'm not a dancer, but I worked as a resident assistant at Harrod Conservatory. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
No.
Anyway, it's a ballet boarding school. Something like you said, probably something to the same effect as Sarasota Ballet, where there was kids throughout high school, 14 through 17,
Right.
18 years old. And they were there for all year. They were doing online schooling. And I did that for 2 years. I was the resident assistant there.
Okay.
They were doing online schooling, and they were doing ballet all day long in the same situation.
Absolutely.
Like you said, it was almost all girls. There was like maybe 6 or 7 guys.
Yeah.
And it's good odds now. But yeah, no, that was good for them, and it was a great place. And I don't know much about dancing, but I'll tell you this, and then I got more questions for you, of course. Going through dance and seeing these kids do dance, and it really takes you out of your box. I'm a sports guy, and you know, you think of dancing as not a sport, but you see how hard these, and this is with ballet, you know, but you see these kids, like how, you know, the girls are fighting over eating disorders, and
Right.
they have to make certain weights. It's almost like wrestling. And you see how much time they put in, and the hustle that they really do every day, long hours. And it really is a sport. So for people that don't think dancing, I mean, like I said, I'm not a dancer, but I can just imagine, and I've seen it firsthand at this school, that it's intense, like you said.
Absolutely. I think that if you really put up a professional dancer, male, female, up against a professional athlete,
Right.
you know, when it comes to the amount of training and the amount of dedication that it takes, the hours put in to their art form, you know, be it tennis to ballet, you know, the amount of time and training and skill set that it takes to get to that level,
Same.
it's really no different. Like it is a pure, you're an athlete, you know, and we have to treat our bodies as athletes. You know, it's no different when a baseball player is in a game. Yeah, that's what they've trained their whole life to do.
Right.
They're in that game, but then take them off of the field, they don't just sit around and they're not blobs. They still have to be in the gym training. You know, and it's the same for a professional dancer. You know, you see us in our light of what it is that we do performing, you know, so sometimes it's lost about the amount of effort that goes in outside of it. You know, I still dance in class, you know, multiple days a week when I teach with my students. And then also I go to the gym 3-4 days a week, you know, so you still have to push yourself outside of what that one thing is. So yeah, it's a very athletic lifestyle for sure.
So to bring this up, I know you said when you were growing up, you were a guy that really didn't want to dance. You threw your shoes out the window. What do you talk to some of these kids that you're teaching, and they feel the same way? They go into dance class and they're there because their parents or their grandparents say, "Hey, you know, we want you to do this," and they're like, I don't really want to be here, but I'll go through the motions. How do you like inspire these kids to stick with it, and maybe a good lifestyle and a good fit? You see potential, and maybe not in all the kids, but in a couple of these kids, and maybe they don't want to do it. And what do you say to these kids?
Well, it's a very fine line, you know, because also the educational tactics have changed dramatically from when I was a kid, you know. And I think what worked out well for me when I was younger was we almost were treated like it was a hard sport.
Right.
You know, so they were allowed to hit me with a stick.
Right.
And be like, yo, you need to do this with that leg, tighten that muscle, and they would hit us with a stick. You know, so I had a much more like aggressive kind of upbringing to it.
Right.
And now what it is you actually you need to be almost more emotional support for your students.
Okay.
You know, I still give them the hardest training that I physically can. You can't touch a student anymore.
Yeah, no,
like my ballet teachers used to come and crank my leg.
Right.
That is not a thing now. You know, so you almost need, it's a very fine line between getting them to thoroughly enjoy it, but then also get them to push themselves just hard enough to where they know that they have the potential to succeed if they want to keep doing it.
Do you find a lot of kids that kind of, you see that in them and they just don't maybe see it in themselves?
Yeah, and that is, you know, something that you have to get really good at as the instructor in a class, is you have to pinpoint the student that's right on the verge of a breakthrough. You know, and it doesn't happen every week.
Right.
This is something, you know, this is something that is so fulfilling about teaching, is it maybe happens once every 6 months.
Right.
You know, I had a student, her name is Lauren, and a couple years ago we were doing, it's called a double pullback in tap class, and she had never gotten one. She had never done it successfully.
Right, of course.
And just, I remember we were going across the floor and she did it, and she literally stopped, put her hands up, and started screaming.
Yeah.
She was so happy she did a double pullback.
Yeah.
You know, and it's those small little moments like that that really make you keep wanting to do it.
Right.
You know, but there's always someone in the class that you every week can tweak their performance of what they're doing to have them understand that, okay, I have this. You know, it's the right amount of telling them how to fix it and the right amount of telling them that they're doing it right.
Right. So you and we won't go too much in this because this goes more into societal features. But I know you said about how the teachers used to more so they would make sure you're doing it right, hit you with the stick, or,
Right.
you know, make sure your form was correct by moving you around. You feel like it's more like a society thing where like it's more like that's not appropriate and you got to kind of watch everything. People are more soft like that.
I think there's a lot of different things that go into it.
Sure.
One being that it used to be, and you know, this kind of goes back to my parents told me exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
My grandfather was my father figure, and my mom, this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
And now it kind of feels, to me, you know, a bit more like now the kids have way more say. No, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
You know, and so that I think has a lot, the table turned in that aspect,
Yeah.
which has a bit to do with it. And then also, you know, as a man in a dance studio primarily filled with young women,
Yeah.
the last thing I need, you know, I'm in there trying to do my job, which is educate the kids properly. The last thing I need is someone to say that I touched somebody.
Right, of course.
That's just not,
no.
that's
don't
not
wanna
how
go
it
down the
works,
road,
you know? And so and because there's been an uprise in people making statements about people, you know, at other schools around the country, world. And so it's changed the dynamic between teacher and student in that sense, you know?
It's a shame. But,
Yeah,
you know,
like I'm a big high fiver with all my kids at the end of class.
Right.
That's it. You know, and if like we're doing a stretch, a girl stretching, I'll literally put my foot on their ankle rather than touch them. I'll put my foot right there to hold their leg down rather than touch them.
Yeah.
You know, and I keep my door open at all times.
course,
Any parent can come watch my class at any moment.
Right.
You know, it's just it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
And I also think that the ability is seen in the way that you're able to train now.
Right.
You know, and yeah, there are some parents that I've had parents tell me, do whatever you need to do to get them to do it right.
Yeah.
But still,
But
that's
you
not.
gotta be careful.
Yeah,
because
you
they
know,
could
it's
say-
a be careful scenario
he said,
for sure.
she said. Yeah. No, I agree with you. And for another person that's a teacher as well as you are, you worry about the same issues in the schools as you do in the dance studio. So it's the same sort of things. But to get back on topic, more so. Now you danced all over the place, but talk about going to New York City. Now we hear all this stuff about Broadway and all these dance studios, the Rockettes, and all these places where dancing is. And New York City's a big spot where dancing is
absolutely.
life. So talk about, you were with the Tap Dogs down there? And,
Yep. No, that was before I left. I worked with them in Tampa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I worked with them in Tampa.
So,
that was going into my senior year of high school.
Oh,
I hadn't even
wow.
graduated yet.
Well, tell us what the Tap Dogs are, and then if you could bridge on after that to when you went to New York.
Okay, sure. So in the summer before my senior year, there was a show put together called Iron Beats that had just done a tour in China.
Right.
And they were coming to Busch Gardens in Tampa.
Right.
And one of their guys had fallen out. And so I was contacted by them. And so I show up, and there were a couple of guys in the show that were Tap Dogs. Okay. Tap Dogs is it's a show that it dates back a while ago. You know, it's 6 guys. Okay. And everything about it is industrial.
Right.
They have saws. It's a tap. It's only tap. It's nothing else.
Right.
It's very, very. It's just different in its own way. The tap shoes are boots. Like it's like guys working in the steel mill.
Right.
You know. So I was working with those guys, and we worked there 6 or 7 weeks. It was my first professional show.
Right.
Working with these guys, and we did like a Celtic section with Irish tap dancing.
Wow.
There was a little bit of hip hop in it.
Yeah.
So that was Iron Beats, working with some of the guys from Tap Dogs, which was, to me, like, it was life changing. You know, I knew that I wanted to dance. I didn't know what I wanted to do. You know,
So these guys were a lot older than you. Then.
Oh yeah, they were probably 10, 12 years older than me.
Wow.
I was 17.
That's impressive.
I mean, and I had been away every summer leading up to that, training at, you know, a ballet school, or I did Broadway Theater Project, doing other summer schools where I'm gone from home for a month. So that was nothing new.
Yeah.
You know, but doing a show live every day, 2-3 times a night, 6 days a week, that was the first time I did that. And so then I went back home, finished up high school, and I did a Disney Cruise Line contract. And then after that, I came home and just said, you know what? I'm moving to New York City.
Okay.
I'd never been.
Oh, wow.
I'd never even been to the
That's
city
a big
before.
Move from Florida to New York City.
From Deltona, Florida to New York City.
Yeah.
I'd never been to New York. I just knew that's where I needed to be.
Right.
So, packed up a U-Haul as big as I could get, packed up all my furniture,
Yeah.
picked up my friend in Montgomery, Alabama, who was moving with me, William, and there we went, driving a U-Haul right through the middle of Times Square.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. So, and you did do some shows over there, correct? And
Yep.
was it theater too? And,
Yep. No, I did 2 off-Broadway shows there.
Yeah.
One called I Got Love, and the other one escapes me what it was called.
That's
Don't
all
really
right.
remember.
But how was the experience doing that? I mean, just
Awesome.
at 18, right?
I was 19 at this time.
19.
Yeah.
So at 19 years old, moving over there,
Yeah.
and living there for the first time.
Yeah, it was amazing, and also just the way of life is different.
Right, of course, so fast paced.
It's super fast paced, and that is not me. I'm a Florida boy, you know, from birth. Like, it's just kind of like, all right, cool. I'm gonna get there when I get there.
Right.
You know, I'm timely, but
Yeah.
I'm punctual, but don't need to be too early.
Right.
And so meeting all these people, you know, you just run into random stars in the middle of the street.
Wow.
Which blew my mind. Like, the first time I'm standing at the end of a street and I'm standing next to Mario Lopez.
Wow.
First of all, he's way smaller than you think he is.
Yeah.
I'm way bigger than he is.
Wow.
Yeah, he's probably about like 5'6", maybe.
Wow.
Yeah,
didn't know
I mean,
that.
he's jacked.
Yeah, he's jacked
But
up,
like,
yeah.
if I'm standing next to him, I look huge.
Wow.
Yeah, no, he's not. He's shredded. But it was a very interesting lifestyle, you know.
Yeah.
But the problem for me,
Yeah.
after I did those couple shows there, most of the work that I was being offered was outside of New York.
Okay.
I was being offered
Where outside?
regional theater. So getting a union contract to go, like, I went to Alabama.
Oh, wow.
I went to Montgomery, Alabama for 2 months and did West Side Story there.
Oh, that's
in
awesome.
an equity opera house,
Wow.
you know, and which is a great way for a lot of people to get their equity card, which is the Broadway Union.
Okay.
And so that's how I got mine, and then from there, like, that just picked up and did a couple other regional theaters,
Right.
you know, and then actually that turned me back here
All right.
because I got tired of
Traveling.
Yeah, I was like, if I'm gonna live in New York, I want to be in New York. I don't want to be in Alabama, Tennessee, you know.
Oh, so you were mostly down south then? In
Oh yeah,
regional one.
whatever theater hired you to come for 2 months, that's where you
Okay.
go.
Oh, okay.
You move there for 2 months to get you an apartment. You do the show, and
Right.
that's how it is, you know.
Right. So doing theater and dancing, I mean, I know you're still a dancer right now at Disney,
Right.
but if you could, you know, pick only one job, would it be just dancing, or would it be a mix
If
of
I
both?
could pick
or?
one job,
Yeah.
that's hard, you know, because I think you need to be able to be an actor to dance.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. With
You
the
have-
emotions.
Yeah,
yes.
you have to have all of those facets, you know. And I didn't grow up training how to sing, you
Right.
know. When I took some vocal lessons, I was terrible. But when I went to Disney Cruise Line,
Right.
you know, and this will be my plug, that if you are a dancer who wants to work on Broadway or theater, start taking acting and music classes now. I arrived at Disney Cruise Line in the first rehearsal. They gave me my book and had all the music in it, and I was like, I'm hired as a dancer. This isn't me. Like, I was like, okay, great.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there, I'm watching everyone sing, and they stopped the track
Oh.
in the room, and they said, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm just listening. They're like, no, you need to sing. And I was like, I don't sing. They're like, well, you're singing now. And that's when I learned how to sing.
Wow. So
I had
they
to
made
sing-
you sing on the spot then.
Oh yeah, I had to sing. I had to sing all the songs in all the shows.
Wow.
You know, and that's what kind of started it. You know, and I've gotten much better
Yeah,
since then. You know, I don't do a lot of music theater now
Right.
at the moment. But I mean, it's always, I do like to sing.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but it is. I think it's important to be able to do all three. You know, you're always gonna have your strong suit.
For stardom, yeah.
You're always gonna have your strong thing, and for me, that's always been dance.
Okay.
You know, and so then you have the other two that are super important. Unless you want to be in a contemporary company or a modern company, but I mean, most of the things that are really going to elevate career-wise, you need to be able to do all three.
Right.
You know.
So let me ask you this. So, out of all the dances that you've done, tap, ballet, jazz, and many other dances, hip hop that you said you did, what is your favorite dance that you've done? Or what is your favorite, or maybe easiest, whatever it may be that you
Well, I mean, when it comes to like my favorite form of dance, you
form?
mean?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tap.
Okay.
Tap is my favorite form of dance.
Is that just because you're better at that than the other ones, or just it's
I
your
wouldn't say
favorite in
necessarily. I think for self-expression
Yeah.
wise, it's easiest for me to express myself that way, rhythmically.
general? Right.
You know, it's always been a form of dance that I've always loved. When I was a kid, I ripped up my entire carpet in my bedroom and built a 8x5 tap floor
Wow.
in my bedroom.
By yourself?
Oh yeah, my mom wasn't happy about it, but
Wow.
you know, and when I would get, go through those teen years and you just
Yeah.
get kind of pissy for no reason.
Well, you must have been the handyman though. If you
Oh yeah, I try. I try. And so then
Okay.
I would go in there and turn the Fallout Boy up as loud as I could and
Yeah,
just
yeah,
tap
yeah.
for hours.
Wow.
You know, it was
That's some drive. Yeah.
yeah, you know, you just gotta,
Yeah.
sometimes you just gotta pound it. Just
No,
go
I
for
hear
it. Get the energy out.
Hey, good
You
for
know?
you. So, being up on stage, like you said, you've been on Disney Cruise Line, you've been in New York, and you've been all over the country dancing, doing musical theater. When you go up on stage for a guy like you, you feel nervous the first time, you feel with a lot of adrenaline, or even now when you go into the Festival of Lion King to start the, thank you for that,
Yeah.
to start the show, do you still like have that adrenaline or nervous feeling
I
or
think
anything?
at this point, when I first learned Lion King, I was shaky. Like
Oh,
I
okay.
would shake.
Wow.
Just because, I mean,
Yeah.
it's so different.
Yeah.
You know, you've seen the show. What's asked of us there is so different than any other show you're going to see on property
Okay.
for a dancer.
Right. Yeah.
You know, with the partnering, the lifts. You know, there's a lot of ground for error in
Right.
that show in a lot of different ways. You know, so I think at this point, I wouldn't say I'm nervous. I'm still equally as concentrated as I was the day I learned it.
So more focused.
That's the most focused I've ever had to remain in a show.
Okay.
You know, a lot of other shows that I've done, they allow you to kind of have some moments with everybody to kind of like just lock eyes and maybe like have a smile with each other and make a little joke or something. You know, when we're on stage and you see us doing that,
There's no ad limit then.
oh
what
no,
you're
that's
saying.
completely 100% set, and this is what it is.
Right.
You know, and so it's super focused. I wouldn't say I get nervous. No,
Yeah.
not this time in that show. If I'm gone for like 2 weeks, I come back, I'm like, okay, I'll have to go over it before I do the show.
Right.
But no, not nervous.
Right.
Excited. I mean, it's.
But when you started dancing, it was pretty nerve-wracking, like even musical theater, like I said.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, someone says, "Oh, by the way, you have to sing this line by yourself."
Okay.
That's a
Yeah.
oh man, I don't want to moment. I'll tell you that. They're like,
Right.
this is your line. You're like, I don't want to do it.
Okay.
They're like, wait, you don't have a chance. You don't have a choice about it. You're singing the song. Okay, all right, fine.
Right.
I guess I have to do it now.
Right. Now I figure after a while you were, pretty adept.
Not when it came to singing. If I had to sing by myself, every time I'd have to sing by myself.
Even now.
Oh, I haven't had to sing in a show in a very long time.
Okay. All right. So we'll move on. Where's your favorite place where you've performed?
Favorite place I performed.
Mhm.
You know, just because of how iconic it is. Some of those shows that I got to do at Magic Kingdom on Cinderella's Castle
Okay. I
were
didn't know
awesome.
that. So
Yep.
you did do some parades and stuff?
No, I did. Remember Dream Along?
Yeah, Dream Along.
I did
with
Dream
Mickey,
Along with
yeah.
Mickey for 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And
While
then-
you were doing Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I was cast actually over at Magic Kingdom.
Oh,
And
okay.
then I would I did that was 2009 to 2000, like beginning 2012, I believe.
Okay.
And then I left for a year.
Okay.
And when I came back, I went to B&B full time.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, I mean, been some really awesome moments on that stage. You know, remember the show Celebrate the Season,
Yes.
the old Castle show?
Yes. Yes.
I loved that show. That, like, literally one of my favorite memories was that show.
Wow.
Yeah, that is
back
to me.
memories,
I
yeah.
know, right? That is to me the Christmas postcard from Disney.
Right.
Like that show right there.
Right.
You know, so that's a great memory right there.
So to go back, let's go into the business aspect because that's what we're here for too. So I want you to just talk about your business. What made you want to go and start your own business? I mean, you're a busy guy. You were doing shows at Disney. Beauty and the Beast, I'm sure, took up a ton of your time. And also now just doing Lion King, that must take up a ton of your time also because that's an intense show to learn and such, you know, all these different movements and stuff. So what made you say, hey, I want to do this, but I do want to move my career forward and also start my own business too?
Right, absolutely. So, I mean, I've been very fortunate when it comes to teaching. You know, having been here for as long as I have, I've made a lot of really great contacts.
Sure.
You know, so over the years, I've been able to teach at different schools in the area.
Right.
And then about 5 years ago now, Marshall Ellis, who owns Me Dance, he asked me if I wanted to come in and start the tap aspect of Marshall Ellis Dance School.
Right.
And I said, sure. And so now, yeah, it's almost been 5 years I've been there and building the tap program at this school, and then started a tap company actually last year, a youth ensemble tap company. It is at times the most gratifying thing that you could, I mean, because you say you're teaching someone a math problem,
Yeah.
and you see it click. You
Right.
see that happen.
Yeah, you're
You know,
happy, yeah.
you get happy not only for them, but you feel fulfilled because you're like,
helped
okay,
them,
I helped. You know, and that's how I feel when I watch the kids dance. You know,
Right.
there's no difference. Like we say, like when we're turning, they're called pirouettes. Some kids always max out at 2 pirouettes.
Right.
You know, if
Yeah.
you see that kid get a 3rd pirouette for the first time, their eyes get big.
Incredible.
You know, it's so gratifying in its own way, and that's what really makes me keep doing it. You know, and I've just I get to travel still.
Yeah.
I travel to schools all over the country and teach, and
You were just in Chicago, you had said recently.
yeah. So I just it's a really awesome just way. Like I still I'm 31 years old. I can't believe I make money doing this. Still, you know.
Right, and you
I've
love
never
it,
had to
yeah.
do anything else, and I'm so fortunate by that. You know.
Well, that's great, and like you know, well, not even just that, but your love for that. It's incredible that you're showing kids the love of dance because it's an art, and we don't see. Me being a teacher, I don't see a lot of art. You know, they're taking art out of schools, whether
Right.
it's dance or drawing or whatever it may be, and it's nice to see somebody that's trying to keep this kind of art still in the country and in general.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate you for that. So I want to talk about this. So how old are the kids? What's the youngest kid? What's the oldest
Sure.
kid?
Yeah. So my students that I actually work with
Sure.
go from probably about, I'd say, 11 to 18.
Okay.
That but we do have classes offered to every age range. What's unique about the school that I'm working with now is every class is a walk-in. Most schools in town have a format where at the beginning of this typical school year, so say August,
Right.
you enroll for the entire year.
Sure.
And you take classes all year long, and then you're given, these are your classes. This is what we're allowing you to take, is kind of what it is told. What's unique about the school I'm at, Marshall's, is all classes are walk-in.
Right.
So if you want to learn how to be a tap dancer,
Yeah.
we have a beginning tap class that whenever you're available and able to do it, you walk in that day, $10, done.
Wow. That's
There's
a
no
decent
enrollment
price,
fees,
yeah.
And it's a 1-hour class, So,
That's really affordable because
Yeah, absolutely.
I think of classes at even a gym. They do a lot of the I know this isn't technically what you teach, but Zumba and all this
Right,
other
yeah.
stuff. You got to pay like a gym membership to
Yep,
do
absolutely.
it. It was $45-$50 a month, and you're talking about $10, and if somebody can't afford it, they can do so many classes a month. And
Yeah.
that's very affordable. Now let me ask you this: how many kids are usually in a class that you teach?
Well,
Go
like
ahead.
my advanced tap class, I would say usually between 10 to 15 kids
Okay.
in class. Intermediate is probably 10, 8, 7 to 10 kids,
Right.
you know. And with those classes, which I've really loved as of late, is the same. They're coming every week,
Right.
you know,
Same
which is
kids.
obviously your goal when it's a business,
Consistency, yeah.
you know. But also that means again you're doing something right.
Right. Yeah.
Because if someone's not enrolled for a whole year, you also have to think they get to choose whether or not they like that teacher.
Well, yeah.
So they get to choose if they want to come the next week.
Right.
They didn't already pay for it.
And two, you got to think of too, not just. I know you said the consistency with the business, but the consistency with the student, that you're consistently working with that same student
Right.
to make that goal happen for them, whatever it may be, on what, and to move them up in levels. If they only do once or twice a week, that's going to suffer,
Right.
like you said. So, but yeah, with that, so the price is always $10.
Always $10 walk
Wow.
in. Yep.
Okay, so that's great to hear. Now, where is the school that you teach, and how can people get a hold of you?
Sure. Yeah. You can look up on Facebook, Marshall Ellis Dance School,
Sure.
and it's right over by the Florida Mall.
Okay.
So off of OBT, just right off the 429 and 528. It's right there at that intersection.
Right.
So it's a very easy location to get to for just about anybody in town. And then
said
if you
much.
have any questions specifically, you can find me on Facebook and ask me your question. And if it is something I don't know the answer to, I'll send you right there to the owner.
Right. Oh,
You
that's
know?
awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to end the interview with some last questions about Disney.
Okay.
So talk about what made you want to come to Disney. I mean, I know you're a local guy, Deltona. That's right near Daytona Beach, correct?
Yeah.
Not that far away.
It's right. It's actually like right between Orlando, Deltona, Daytona. It's kind of
Yeah.
right in the middle of us.
Right. And I saw you were a Gators fan, so I'm going to
Absolutely.
throw this in. Go Gators.
Go
for
Gators.
That. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get back into this. So what made you want to come to Disney? Was it just because it was that close vicinity, or did you always want to be a Disney
Well,
dancer?
I think it's a very misunderstood job here
How
by
so?
a lot of people, and I have a lot of friends, dear friends, who live in New York City still and are still pushing and grinding for that Broadway credit.
Okay.
Okay, we are treated, we're the same union
Oh.
as Broadway.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we have the same union, you know. So all those things that go at hand in New York City for a Broadway show, we have a lot of those same things here. And that I was completely unaware of.
Right.
I didn't know that there were equity contracts here. I thought that we had to be in New York City
Right.
to do that kind of work. And once I found that out, and once I found, obviously the price of living is so exponentially different.
Yeah. Of
You
course,
know,
yeah.
I can't own a home there.
Right.
I own my house here.
New York City, you can't even rent there.
Exactly.
You could have like
Let-
about 10 people living with you.
Exactly. You know, when I lived there were 4 of us in a house,
Yeah.
and you know, I was lucky we had a house in Astoria, but I mean, we were still paying. I think it was 800, 750, 800 each.
Crazy. Insane.
You know,
Yeah.
my mortgage isn't even that. Like here,
Right.
you
I
know,
believe it, yeah.
I think it was like 2,800 a month there. My mortgage isn't that here.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
you know. So just
insane.
the way of life, the fact that when you're in New York City, there are no days off.
Right, yeah.
Every day's the
There's a
grind.
grind, yeah.
It's that grind every single day to get yourself there, and then once you're there, it doesn't stop. I mean, not that it stops here, but this lifestyle is
Lot more
it's me.
relaxed.
It's me.
You grew up here and you
Yeah.
were, you know, kind of more of the relaxed guy than over there. It's crazy. And I grew up in that type of area, and, you know, I still have a little bit of that in me as far as moving and stuff, but it can be stressful. I mean, you go down the road and, you know, cars are beeping the horn.
Oh,
People
yeah.
are driving like maniacs. Not that they don't drive like maniacs here, because they definitely do.
Yes, they
That's another
absolutely do.
topic for another day. But yeah, no, I mean, it's probably a different world, Disney, compared to that, for sure.
Absolutely, and it's just, I mean, here I can have my friends over to my house. I can go to my friend's house. I can get in my car.
Right.
I can go where I want to be, and it's just this allows me to also do so many different things.
Sure.
You know, I still get to play softball.
Right.
You know, which when you're living in New York City, where are you gonna play softball? You know, or
True.
where are you gonna play baseball either? You know, so I mean, Disney is really everything can happen here for you as
Right.
long as you want it to. You know, and allow yourself to do it.
Right. So So talking more about Disney, when you came here, talk about the differences between working with the parades and not the castle shows, rather, not the parades, to working with Beauty and the Beast and Festival of Lion King.
Okay. Well, for Castle Show, those group of people that I learned Dream Along with Mickey with,
Right.
those are still some of my closest friends to this day, and over a decade ago.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
and some of us, we're all still here. A handful of us are all still here.
Right, right.
You know, nothing will beat those memories of Dream Along with Mickey. But the number one thing that obviously comes to your mind is how freaking hot it is.
Oh,
Our
outside,
shoes
yeah.
would melt. Our shoes would melt to the floor.
Right.
Literally, they would melt. You know, but the dance style at CTS and also Dream Along with Mickey was very much an old school style jazz.
Right.
You know, sharp lines. And then I got introduced to learn B&B.
Right.
In, I think, like summer of 2009, I learned it. And that kind of opened up my eyes, and I enjoyed that experience for the fact of how much acting you get to do.
Right.
You get to like build your own character.
Right.
You know, when you're on the castle, you're a kid of the kingdom. Like
Right.
this is what you are, and then you go over there and you get to be Crazy Larry from Studio 4D. Like whatever you want to be, like, you can make up your own characters, and so it allows for such a different version of you. You know, and then Lion King was the show I always wanted to learn.
Oh, wow.
I wanted to learn it for years,
Really?
and that I was tied up in the other shows and I wasn't able to learn. You know, and then in summer of 2015, I finally got the opportunity to learn it.
Okay. Now, did you have to audition for Lion King?
I had auditioned
you
numerous
had to-
times.
oh, okay.
I had auditioned
Yeah.
numerous times, and it was never that I couldn't do it.
Sure.
It was just that they needed me other places.
Oh, okay.
And then
I
they
get
would
what
tell
you're
me I
saying.
was too short, and I was like,
Oh.
okay, I get it, you know. And then one day they let me do it, and I was like, okay, great.
All right.
And I've been there ever since.
So, two more questions on Beauty and the Beast, and then I want to hit Lion King to end the interview. Beauty and the Beast, there's a lot of change in costumes, as you kind of talked about. You're one character 1 minute, the
Yep.
next minute you're another character. How does that work out? Like, it's going to be like kind of
It is very
crazy.
Well, it is a little bit crazy. It's very well organized.
really.
I'll tell you
Okay.
that. So when you see a performance, a show, you see what's staged on the stage, what
Of course. Yeah.
the blocking of what the dancers are doing on stage.
Right, on Beauty and the Beast.
From the moment we leave that stage, it's the same backstage. There's blocking for everything.
Right.
You know where you can stand, you know where you can't stand. You know that one boy's gonna walk on your left and a boy's gonna walk on your right, and you have to be right in the middle of the alleyway.
Right.
Like everything is choreographed backstage too. And we have costumers back there helping us,
Yeah.
you know. Like we do as much as we can and they're zipping us up and we're putting our hats on. We're
Right.
doing this. You know, it's the whole thing is choreographed.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
awesome. It's fun. It's fun to watch.
Right. I
Yeah.
was gonna
Especially
say
if you
it's
haven't
gonna be-
seen that kind of thing before, your eyes would be bugging. You're like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
I was gonna say you got to be on speed because they change so quick.
Oh yeah.
And the scenes always change.
Yeah, there's one boy in that show. I think you have to go from what is your villager costume, the character that you play in the village, to someone in the finale of the show. You have like 37 seconds to change
Wow.
your entire costume.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Last thing on Beauty and the Beast, I love the dancing at the end. I think it's great, and the costumes are beautiful at the end. Is that dance pretty? Is that? I know it's probably ballroom, right?
The waltz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Is
a.
that an intense dance to learn, or pretty easy? Or?
Once you understand the form of it, it kind of just revolves around itself.
Okay.
Because the whole thing is, yeah, I mean, the footwork is in a waltz. A 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, bop, dot, dot, dip. So once you get that, and if you get, you know, your partner to really understand the form of it too, you kind of build the box with each other
Right.
to where it just kind of moves around itself,
Right.
you know? But getting to that place where that form is easy for you can be very difficult for some people
Right.
to learn. I mean, I think it's probably the hardest dance to teach in that show.
Right.
But it kind of floats once you get that box with it, you just float on the stage.
Yeah, I agree. It looks like some of the girls and the guys, it's just like they're on air, like you
Yeah.
said. They're just
Yep.
it's so
Well, because
smooth.
you have that
The posture?
The posture, and you're just pulling almost a little bit away from each other.
Yeah.
So it's centrifugal force just
Right.
around itself, and then you're just swooping across the stage.
Right,
Yeah,
incredible.
it feels effortless when it's right.
Right. So, Festival Lion King feels like it's a whole different ball game toward Beauty and the Beast. It
Oh,
looks like
absolutely.
it's an incredibly tough show to learn. Those costumes are so tight on the guys and the girls. I don't know how they don't bust out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you would know that obviously being in the show. I mean, I know you guys don't have to change costumes because I don't know how you would change with how skin tight that is. But talk about Festival Lion King. How tough was that to learn compared to Beauty and the Beast?
Well, Lion King brings forth a completely different level of skill.
Right.
That's, and that's what was always so compelling to me about it. That's the reason I wanted to do it. I grew up doing ballet. I grew up doing lifts, and that was something I wanted to do there because, it's almost sometimes that sense of, well, I don't get to do what I train to do all the time, and that's been why I love the show the way I do, because I get to leave work and be completely fulfilled in the sense of I just did 3-4 shows of something I trained my whole life to do, and that's fulfilling in every way. It also, you have so many moments that are just elevated. The fire knife, like we're part of that scene.
Right,
I
of
know
course,
I'm not
yeah.
spinning fire, and thank God for that. I don't want to spin fire, but to be part of that moment, you get to be prepared is my favorite part of the show.
Really?
That's my favorite part because you give me a drum and I get to make up rhythms.
True,
That's fun.
true.
I love that. That's fun
Yeah.
for me. It's just the excitement in that show. There's nothing like it on property. The fact that you have 3 very special acts in a row.
Yeah.
You have between the monkeys, a fire knife spinner, and then a ballet pas de deux.
Yeah.
Those are specialty acts.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very hard to find people that are able to do that. Casting of that show is very difficult
Really?
for that reason. Those are hard skills to find
Right.
and, have someone be able to learn it.
Right. But it's going to be hard dancing on that concrete. But
Yeah,
more so,
yeah.
I guess, for the girls
For the
than
the other
guys,
performers,
too,
yeah. It is hard, and it can hurt their legs, but they all have at this point learned to adapt
Right.
to what it needs, how their body works with it, and what they do.
How do you guys, and maybe I think you can answer this, but how do you guys warm up before the show?
Yeah.
Whether it's, especially you with the lifts, you have to kind of make sure you're ready. I don't know how much the girls weigh, but I'm sure it's anywhere from 90 to 100 pounds.
before the show,
Yeah.
you and your partner go through everything that you need to go through.
Okay.
You warm up separately, you do whatever stretches you need to do, and
Sure.
however it is that you need to warm yourself up. Excuse me, and then you do practice lifts.
So is this the same? I know you're with the other bird, but is this the same with the other dancers? They have partners too.
Well, I dance with all the girls.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
we're not set with just one partner.
So all the girls can do the bird?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And how did those girls not get so dizzy doing all that?
That's a great question. You'd have to ask one of them.
Yeah.
Because I've tried it.
Oh, you have?
I've gone up before.
I would be
It
scared.
is very disorienting.
Very scared.
Yeah, it's very disorienting. But yeah, no, I mean, we
It's
have,
incredible, yeah.
I believe there's like 8 or 9 girls that do that role.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I see those girls and I cringe when how they're always spinning and how they get down and still like level-headed.
Oh, yeah.
dancing. I'm like, jeez, it's incredible. But you said you warm up before the show.
Oh
with,
yeah,
the
absolutely.
girl.
You have to.
Right. Yeah.
You have to take it no differently than if you're an athlete. Like you have to warm
Right, of
yourself
course,
up.
yeah.
This is my business. This
Right.
is my job. It's my body. If
Right.
I hurt myself, I'm out of work.
Right.
You know.
Now let me ask you this. I know you say you dance with all the girls, and I know you have that role with the bird. Could you go and do, or have you done those other roles with
No.
the? Okay.
I only do the
So
one
is that
role.
not with your contract, or is that?
Yeah, I'm
just...
contracted specifically as that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious with
Yeah.
that. Okay. So my last question on Lion King, and then I'll have some fun questions for you.
Okay.
Some quick fun questions. With Lion King, how long did it take you to learn that role? and the
I think my
intensity.
rehearsal process was about 3 weeks.
No, wow, that's not too bad.
Yeah, so I came in the first day, and our dance captains taught us the bulk of movement, and then it's you don't just learn it and it's great.
Right.
It's something you have to work on. Yeah, so the first week is all pretty much studio rehearsal. You
Right.
rehearse, and then from there you start making your way to the theater and training on the other aspects of it. So it's about 3 weeks.
Right. So what is your future you want in Disney? I know you do have your business and you are working for Disney, and that's awesome. What is your ultimate goal, I guess I should say?
Ultimate goal, that's hard. Life's forever, evolution
Changing,
is
yeah.
forever changing.
Right.
I start school in January for business management.
Okay, where at?
I'm just going to do Valencia online.
Yeah, nice.
So I didn't go to school.
Yeah.
I started
really
performing,
travel,
and so now's that moment where I have to start thinking, okay, well, what is it I'm really going to do? I see myself teaching for as long as I can.
Right.
I don't see myself losing that, but who knows? I might end up with a name tag on at Disney someday.
Right.
So who knows? It's always, you just gotta be prepared for the future. I don't actually know at this moment.
Well, if you wear the name tag, make sure you're teaching the new people at Festival of Lion King or the new people at Beauty and the Beast.
Right, yeah.
You can get the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
So what was it like working with Miley Cyrus and Hilary Duff? Any kind of stories you can tell about that?
I mean, but those
Any
two know.
interesting-
I mean, the ones that were the most interesting were actually the Jonas Brothers.
Oh, I didn't know you worked with
Yeah,
them.
I did a filming with the Jonas Brothers, and Nick Jonas was so shy.
Was that at Disney?
Yeah, it was
Oh,
a very
okay.
long. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick. The older two were like perfectly out and like talking to everybody, and Nick Jonas was so shy. He wouldn't talk to anybody, and so now it's just funny. 12 years later, he's the one that's outward and like in the spotlight, and the other two are kind of drawn back.
Right. Right.
So that's funny in itself. But I mean, like we did some stuff with Ben Savage and Melissa Joan Hart.
Okay. Yeah.
When I was a kid,
Wow. Okay.
we're like 7, 8 years old. I did some stuff here with them.
We're gonna say who Ben Savage is, so the people.
Oh
that
yeah,
are-
Ben Savage, Boy Meets World,
yeah.
and then Melissa Joan Hart was Sabrina
Melissa,
the Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Yeah, but they were fun. It's just, and then most recently all the guys and girls from oh boy, it's slipped my mind now. What's the new teen sensation that's on Disney Channel?
I don't. That's not even on Disney Channel.
No, the one where they're all like the children of the villains.
I don't know.
Yeah,
But
okay, well,
regardless, it's not that serious.
Those guys have all been super fun too. No, everyone's been really nice. There's no real fun stories that I've been part of. I've heard some funny ones,
Right.
but I'm not going to say the stories.
Yeah,
because
no,
I don't
that's
know.
fine. Yeah, if it's not that serious. So to give the people a background to end the interview about you, what's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie, period?
Yeah.
Goodfellas.
Oh wow, good.
Just
well,
so
from
good.
one Italian to another Italian, you're gonna like an Italian movie
Goodfellas
like
or
that.
Shawshank Redemption.
Good movie too.
Yes, those are up there.
Favorite food?
Nachos.
All right, interesting.
Yeah.
I was thinking something Italian or something.
Nachos, man.
All right.
Always nachos.
Whatever works. All right, music.
I gotta go country.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess that area is country, Deltona.
Yeah. Gotta go country. Yeah.
All right. Favorite workout with you being in the gym and especially having to work out before.
Favorite workout?
Well, what workout do you do consistently to whatever it may be?
Mostly all upper body, because everything I do for my
Yes,
legs
legs,
is.
yeah.
Well, yeah. I
You
mean,
have to do
I
for
do
your
all
legs,
upper
too.
body in the gym, but all my other stuff outside would be for legs. Teaching class and everything. I do a lot of strength building outside, but in the gym, it's all upper body for me.
Was that a new thing to get used to when you started doing those lifts in the show?
Yeah.
You
I mean,
worry about the.
and that's the thing. Like every lift's different. Every partner you have is different.
Right.
It's never the same twice.
I'm-
You have to be ready at all times.
Yeah, because not you. I saw a different person in the show do the lift, and they almost did a drop, and
It happens.
quite
I've done
serious.
it. I've done it.
In the show.
Oh, yeah.
Live. Wow.
Well, we're not.
you're not perfect.
We're not
Yeah,
robots.
Yeah, yeah.
You got to think, like, if I do that lift 15 times a week,
Yeah.
so 60 times a month,
Yeah, yeah. I'm
720 times a year,
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Something's gonna happen in there.
Right.
Like, they can't all happen. Like, the strongest man in the world sometimes can't
Yeah.
save a lift. You
Right.
know, so it's bound to happen.
But does the girl say at the end of the show, say, what the heck happened?
Well, and sometimes neither of you know what happened.
Yeah, yeah.
The floor could be
Because it
slippery.
could have been her, it could have been you.
It could have been both of
the
you.
floor,
Who
yeah.
knows? You know, like, sometimes you just kind of stare at each other and go, what just happened?
Right.
You know?
And the last question, what's your favorite dancer?
Favorite dancer ever?
Yeah.
Gregory Hines.
Okay.
Gregory Hines, the greatest.
And I want you to say one more time where people can find you, and if you have the phone number, the website, or Facebook page, whatever.
Yeah. Marshall Ellis Dance School. You can find us on Facebook. I teach Tuesdays and Thursdays. School is always open, so come on through anytime you want. Find me on Facebook and friend me.
All right, Daniel, thanks so much.
You got it.
And I want to thank Daniel for his time. I appreciate that.
You got it.
And I also want to, hopefully everybody will watch this video, subscribe. It's free to Conversations with Rob. We have people like Daniel, King Ray, who's a legend down at the Festival of Lion King, did this, and we hope to get more people from Disney, but not even just Disney. We've had boxers, politicians on, people from all walks of life. So I want to thank Daniel again for his time, and we hope you guys keep watching. Thanks so much.